the heads can easily get bowed and whatnot, but thankfully sharp chances taken in gully, and as a result we're on our way.
Exactly. I think, what did he know?
42 top scored, yeah.
But look, he's one of those players. He'll either get a score like that, or he'll go out very early because he hits in the air. But look, I think Amiga, because a few years ago they were always pushing these kids. I think where they went wrong was letting Ivan go. How you could not give him the captaincy how many, or 3 years ago, for him to go from there to Brighton is crazy. He's one of those one in a generation type players for a club like that.
Yeah.
Look, it's all in hindsight now, but you know, the fact that they let someone like him go is beyond me. But look, Ferguson did a good job last year, but obviously he was probably brought in as a mentor more than anything, not to perform as much. And they were really relying on their kids like Beckett. They had that Mitchell bowling leg spin. There was a guy called Fletcher. They had a few young guys a couple of years ago that really hadn't progressed.
And of course there's Hitchcock that they had as well.
Hitchcock, yeah. So, and like watching, what's his name, Beckett on Saturday, look, he didn't keep that well at the first innings against us and might have made 10 or something with the bat, but I think he was batting better 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know what's happened in between then, but they were the guys I were hoping that would kick on. All of a sudden you're 0 and 10?
0 and 9, yeah, that's right. And I mean, Wooden Spoon is all but assured, because even if they win the next 2 games, they've got a fair bit of percentage to catch up on.
I still don't understand why Wilkinson wasn't playing ones all year. He's playing it now. Why didn't he play?
Look, you know, they've obviously you know, realised that he needs to play in the ones, and as I say, top scored, and good on him, and good to have a beer with us that game as well. So moving to the 2s, and well, speaking of teams that haven't won a game all year, it's our seconds, and A&A chased Amiga's 216, and that was on the back of traffic going on there. But Paul Morford took 3 wickets, Westy and Caddison 2 wickets each, and in reply A&A again just fell about 20 runs short. Peter Bishop, Paul Morford and Frank Licano all made around 40. Unfortunately they needed one of those guys to go on. Admittedly Morph bats lower order, so well done to him. But yeah, Frankie and Bish, you know, 2 senior heads, had one of them gone on to make a high 50 or something like that, would have probably been the difference.
Well, I think now that Height West has won 2.
Yeah, so we will be last on the ladder no matter what. So I guess our All No Shield hopes in making sure that we can stay up there depends on, I guess, well, Amiga will be last, and I guess if Bentley and Nighting win All No Shield, then that saves Amiga's bacon. I guess what we need is Washington Park or Chelsea Heights if they want to go up. Those 2 clubs, if they win Longmere Shield, then also win Woolno, then they'd be a chance for promotion, which would obviously bring Amiga's 2s from Woolno into C grade, and I think their 3rds are in C grade as well. I'm not sure, but yeah, there'll be a lot of interesting discussions at the CMCA during winter, depending on what happens there.
It's a shame if we went down.
Oh look, it's important for the club to hold on to that Woolno Shield spot, because you know if someone gets dropped in Longy, then they're playing in C grade, which you know is a lesser standard than Woolno, and being able to be conditioned to get some form back and then be ready to play in Longmere Shield is a big drop.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So into the 3rds, and good story with the 3rds. They're up and about and on the verge of locking in a final spot if they can win at least one of the next 2 games. They made 7 for 251. And that was on the back of Tim White making 118 after making 90 not out the game before, and Tommy Fitzpatrick making 60. I believe when Tim was on 41, Tom came in, and then when Tom went out for 60, Tim was only on about 44. So great hitting by Tommy Fitzpatrick, and that was evident in the Battle of Glen Ira on Wednesday when Simon Surridge, one of the most respected opening bowlers in the competition, was just being treated with absolute disdain by Tom Fitzpatrick and his hitting over the top. So clean hitter, Tom.
It's just a shame he's never been able to commit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, particularly with training and all that kind of stuff. He's played some remarkable innings, even in the 2s, going back 3, 4, 5 years ago, and just hasn't really been able, as you say, commit and you know take that next step. But anyway, good hitting, and anyway, 7 for 251 A&A. In reply, Wanderers all out for 199, and that was based on Paddy Shine from Wanderers, who made 125 not out. James Coyne took 4 for 55, and Bobby Dolman and Sam Wolfe took 3 wickets each as well. So good win by the 3rds. In the 4ths, Des Falconer's machine keeps on rolling Hampton United 66. Glenn Wilson taking 3 for 9, as did Brett Williams, took 3 for 9 in his return game after being dropped the game before because Des didn't think he was good enough.
Who's this?
Brett Williams, who opened the batting for South Australia 20 years ago in Sheffield Shield. And Des decided to drop him after round 8 because he didn't get a bat. And he says, well, he didn't bat, so he's going to be the one who's going to be dropped. Anyway, he's come back, and Paul Knight took 3 wickets as well.
I guess all he had to do was buy him a beer after the game, and he would have been sweet.
Yes, good old Desmond. And well, Des was a little bit upset about buying beers because he missed out on winning the meat trade, and he's been complaining in recent weeks about losing the meat trade. But anyway, in reply, Des made 68 and outscored Hampton United himself in A&A making 3 for 116, Pat Gatto making 28 not out. And hoping for an outright victory, A&A fell a wicket short. I think they batted for the last 15 overs, the final pair, and finished 9 for 97. Des taking 4 for 12, Glenn and Paul Knight taking 2 wickets each. But A&A's fourths are still in the finals contention, but an extra 4 points would have been great. But either way, well done to the fourths. And the fifths were also playing for finals. This game, unfortunately, was a loss and would probably damage their finals chances. Chasing 221 with Whelan taking 3 for 18, Michael Whelan, and Donahue and McGeechan taking 2 wickets each. In reply, A&A fell 30 runs short. McGeechan making 65 and Alex Pelly 29, so bad luck to the fifths. And just finally in the juniors, A&A fell short against McKinnon's 150, and in the under 12s, A&A won 5 for 145, defeated Bo Morris 92. So I think the 12s are on their way to make finals as well.
They had finals in 12s, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Anyway, moving on to the CNCA's Longmuir Shield. As we mentioned, A&A defeated Omega. We've said enough about that game. But what we spoke about before about Carnegie South in round 8, their batting. East Sandringham rolled Carnegie South for 88 on the back of their 90 against us, and their 41 the week before against Hampton Central. East Sandringham obviously passed Carnegie South's score, going for quick runs. They lost a few wickets in the process, finished 8 for 110, and obviously they were hoping for Carnegie South to crumble. But they held on to avoid outright, but still all out for 100 at the end of the day.
Did Cheeks play? I didn't look.
I believe he's not. I'm not 100% sure.
So I know he played in the twos. I think we talked about he was playing in the twos the week before.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so Carnegie South, as we mentioned, they were flying early, and then 4 scores where they've just pipped 100 at the last one. But obviously a fair bit of work on their batting to do. Bentley Uniting. They dismissed Hampton Central for 143. Now, from memory, I think Hampton Central like 6 for 40 or 7 for 50 or something like that. And David Gold played a role in showing a bit of backbone and taking Hampton Central to 143, with Seb Zayo taking 4 wickets. And in reply, Bentley Uniting passed them 7 wickets down, with Brett Ernst finally doing some Saturday business and making 73 not out. And so well done to Pup. And Damien Britt also made 35. But they 7 for 188. So again, Bentley Uniting, well, they've stitched up top spot. They're 2 games, or they're 3 games ahead from second spot, with only 2 games to go. So
the pleasing thing for those guys is the Zaya kid, Seb Zaya. He's taken probably what?
Yeah, he's taken probably about 14 or 15 wickets in the last 3 games. So
it just gives you that other, the versatility to throw someone a ball like that and just take some wickets, take the pressure off Surridge and these sort of guys.
Yeah, just to mix it up. Obviously Ash Russell does a fair bit with the mixing the pace up, but Seb Zayo bowls at the back of the hand. So again, it's some variety.
But it's just a shame Hampton lost. Well, we talked about Steve May going overseas.
That's right.
That's going to obviously hurt it come finals time. But if they make finals, that is definitely.
Well, that's right. They've slipped out of the 4 now. They're in 5th spot, and they've got 2 games ahead of them to try to get back in there. Mackie won their second game for the season.